For 27 years, it's a stain that has followed the lives and legacies of 4 men accused in Austin's infamous yogurt shop murders.
I mean, we had a happy life before this happened.
Now it's set to be wiped away.
Officials now hoping to write the final chapter in the long-running saga that ripped the community apart.
I'm sorry that it took this long.
On Thursday, prosecutors will ask a judge to declare the 4 men innocent after investigators last year linked a serial killer to the crime.
We want accountability and we want to reform.
KVUE senior reporter Tony Plahetsky has covered the case for decades and has this KVUE Defenders exclusive.
Mark and Quita, what happened to these 4 men, teenagers in 1991 when the yogurt shop murders happened, is considered by Austin's legal community one of its gravest injustices. 1 man sent to Texas death row, another to life in prison, and 2 others labeled as killers, cases dangling over them for decades. We sat down with one of the men and the family of another ahead of their exoneration. This is the vindication they have always prayed for.
Getting a lot of the old regulars back that disappeared, they're starting to come back now.
Forrest Wellborn is the owner of the Manchac Springs Saloon, a Texas honky-tonk on the southern edge of Travis County. Soon after he bought the business a year ago, he saw sales drop, even from loyal customers, and he immediately knew why.
There was a lot of people that wouldn't come here because I owned it. They didn't want to come here because it was me.
It was the latest injury to a life ruined.
A lot of people thought that, I was still guilty, just released because of lack of evidence.
27 years ago, Wellborn was one of 4 suspects arrested and charged in the 1991 yogurt shop murders that killed 13-year-old Amy Ayers, 17-year-old Eliza Thomas, and sisters Sarah and Jennifer Harbison, ages 15 and 17. A day that many thought would finally bring closure.
Early this morning, the Austin Police Department, with assistance from other law enforcement agencies, served 4 arrest warrants charging 4 individuals with capital murder.
But over the decades, the cases crumbled. Robert Springsteen, sentenced to die, and Michael Scott, sentenced to life, saw their convictions overturned after courts ruled prosecutors improperly used their confessions that were later deemed coerced. Prosecutors dropped the cases against Wellborn and another man, Maurice Pierce, due to insufficient evidence. But the cloud of suspicion has always remained.
I mean, it was hard for him to, every time he would try to go for a job interview, it's on his, right, people started doing backgrounds, right? So it was there. He had to explain it.
Kim and Marissa Pierce are the widow and daughter of Maurice Pierce, who died in 2010 in a confrontation with an Austin officer after what they say were years of traumatic interactions with police.
I'm grateful that his name's going to be cleared. That's what we've always wanted. But he's not here.
On Thursday, the Pierce family and Wellborn will be in a Travis County courtroom for what is expected to be a deeply emotional and unusual proceeding. Prosecutors and defense attorneys for all 4 will ask State District Judge Dana Blasey to declare them innocent after police last fall announced that they had linked the yogurt shop murders to a serial killer named Robert Eugene Brashears.
At this point, there's no physical evidence that links Springsteen, Scott, Pierce, or Wellborn to the yogurt shop crime scene.
The hearing is also expected to provide a full airing for how an investigation that officials say was fueled by emotion over facts led police to wrongly single out the 4.
This is of utmost importance to them. Their names have been smeared unjustifiably.
Michael Ware is the executive director of the Innocence Project of Texas, which represents Wellborn and the Pierce family.
Well, there were some horrible mistakes made in this case that are both bad judgment on individuals' parts and some maybe more systemic. We want accountability and we want to reform.
I think the world needs to hear. I feel like he was dehumanized. I feel like people forgot that there was a human there. And so I think our peace encompasses that he was still a man that laughed and loved.
Kim and Marissa Pierce plan to attend the hearing with decades of grief and anger.
Just a lot of emotions. It's always the what ifs that haunt you.
Wellborn also reflects on how his life could have unfolded without the taint of the yogurt shop allegations.
I would have graduated school, I would have, could have had a really nice house, could have owned a property.
Wellborn talks stoically about his own life.
It's heartbreaking, and I'm sorry that it took this long.
He teared up only once when asked about the victims of that horrible night and their families.
I'm sorry it took this long for them to get closure, to find the one that actually did this crime.
Attorneys for Springsteen and Scott say their clients aren't ready to speak. Robert Brashears, the serial killer police say is responsible, died by suicide in 1999, just 8 months before Austin police charged the 4 men. Brashears has been linked to at least 7 murders nationally. Police say he had no connections to Austin and believe he acted alone. Tony Plahetsky, KVUE News.